Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning into today's video. We have more PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. Please hit that like button if you enjoy the video, and if you're new here to the channel, please consider subscribing. So we're starting off with some apparent leaks of some big PlayStation discounts coming for Black Friday, spotted by VGC. Reliable leaker Bill Kun has seemingly leaked the Black Friday sales coming from PlayStation 4, PS5 and PSVR 2 hardware, which is what I'm more excited about, after an incoming discount was seemingly published early at the beginning of the previous week, which listed a price cut of around $70 for the PS5. Those same deals and more for Sony's latest generation of VR are coming to Europe. If you already have a PS5 and are not interested in picking up a PS5 Pro, which won't be going into sale this Black Friday, but still want to pick up some new hardware, then this might be your time to jump into PSVR 2. Now, reportedly, the PSVR 2 is going to get a massive €200 discount. That's massive. Also, it's not just the headset on its own that's on sale. The bundle, which comes with the Horizon Call of the Mountain, is also getting the same discount. The standard PS5 Slim consoles are getting a €75 discount, which is also a pretty decent amount. But if you've been thinking about getting into the PlayStation VR, then this is easily one of the best deals Sony has put on the headset. At least if you're in Europe, that is, since it's not entirely clear what the sales will be for those in North America looking to grab a headset. I mean, the PSVR 2 in the UK seems to be around the £440 to £550 mark, depending on where you are. And if these leaks are correct, and we get around €200 discount, we could be looking at around £280 to £320 for a PSVR 2, which seems an incredibly good bargain. Let's hope those rumours turn out to be true. Now let's move on to some teething problems with some of the games on the PS5 Pro, because several articles including Push Square, WCCF Tech, Eurogamer and PlayStation Universe, they're all reporting on the same issues. And you can add Star Wars Jedi Survivor to the games that somehow perform worse on the PS5 Pro than on the base PS5 console. The guys at Digital Foundry put the game's PS5 Pro enhanced patch through its paces and came away rather unimpressed. While ray tracing reflections are quite good, this technical aspect is overshadowed by severe image quality problems across the board. Digital Foundry gave a detailed summary in a 25-minute video on their channel, determining that the culprit appears to be the PSSR technology. They go on to say that we don't think the image is supposed to have that kind of strobing inconsistency. While it's not immediately apparent, it's hard not to notice once you do see it. Star Wars Jedi Survivor has struggled with performance issues since launch, so perhaps we shouldn't be surprised that issues continue to persist with this one particular title. However, that's not the only game being highlighted to have slight issues. Fans are calling for Konami to patch Silent Hill 2 Remake for the PS5 Pro after discovering that the game runs noticeably worse on Sony's new system compared to the standard version of the console. Even though the game is supposed to have had a patch come out for the Pro, the patch is still pending and hasn't gone live. Maybe Konami and Bloober Team are working on updating the code from their end to deal with these issues on the Pro, as it seems to be the Pro version is performing not as good as the PS5 base model on this particular game. Fans have taken to Reddit to air their frustrations with the game, which is marred by some performance issues on the PS5 Pro. Despite many gamers calling for Konami to issue a patch via X, the company has not yet issued a response. Developer Bloober Team is likewise remaining silent on the matter. One user expressed their disappointment with the game's performance on the PS5 Pro in a thread titled, "Konami is completely silent." One comment reads, "I can't even bring myself to play it in this state because it's so distracting. I feel like even if I did play the game in this state, it would just get worse throughout the game, and I would be even more pissed off. So $70 down the drain because it still hasn't been fixed yet. I feel like I'm going to get to play this game after the holidays at the rate Konami and Bloober Team are going at this point." You know what, that's a fair point from someone clearly showing their frustration. And you know, when you've shelled out £700 for a brand new PS5 Pro and then a bunch of cash on a brand new game, you'd expect it to perform well. At the very least, you'd expect the devs to come out and issue an update as to when the patch is going to go live or when these little problems are going to get fixed. It's the silence that is deafening. Although there are a few games that have had small teething issues, which I feel like is a small update or a patch away from running fine, the vast majority of games are working absolutely fine on the Pro. I have to admit, I haven't really encountered any of these issues of the games that I've been playing so far. But let me know in the comments if you're experiencing any problems with any games not running well on the PS5 Pro. So moving on to a bizarre change in what constitutes a game. The Game Awards, which historically awards the best voted game of the year with the prize of the best game of the year. And you could argue sometimes that the best games do not always win. It's always debatable, right? However, you cannot argue with the fact that the winning nomination is a game. A complete game that has been created from start to finish to be enjoyed as a game. Well, that's about to change. An update to the FAQ on the event's official website notes that the Game Awards aims to recognise the best creative and technical work each year, irrespective of the format of the content's release. Expansion packs, new game seasons, DLCs, remakes, and remasters are all now eligible in all categories if the jury deems that the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. The statement goes on to underline that newness of the content and its price value should be taken into consideration. With the ballots now closed, Polygon reports that voters were aware of these rules prior to submitting their nominations. While the language of the FAQ is new, it's unclear if the Game Awards has always had this policy. For example, last year's Cyberpunk 2077 expansion, Phantom Liberty, was a highly acclaimed release, although it never made the overall Game of the Year nominations. However, it is argued that this statement has been released now because Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree has made the cut and will be one of the Game of the Year nominations set to be announced today. But I'm not sure how I feel about a DLC nominated as a Game of the Year. Perhaps a different category for Best DLC would work better. It's also interesting that in-game sessions are now also eligible for Game of the Year. That means in theory, you could have a Fortnite season or Honkai Star Rail patch competing against Astrobot and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This may never occur, however, given how the rules for the nominations have changed, in theory this could all very well happen. The Game Awards nominations and ultimate winners are determined by a panel of media and influencers from around the world who submit their picks. The public also get a 10% say on the final outcome across all categories. How do you feel about the DLC or remasters being considered for Game of the Year? What would your reaction be if Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree won the top prize this year? I think that DLCs should have their own category, and that if we were voting for a Game of the Year, then it should be based on the whole game. How do you feel about remakes and remasters being voted Game of the Year? Think about Silent Hill 2 Remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Horizon Remaster, or The Last of Us 2 Remastered. Should these types of games be considered for Game of the Year nomination? Personally, I think remasters should not be considered Game of the Year contenders, and remakes, provided they are remade from the ground up, should be, because remakes are generally from the ground up and are usually remakes of games which came out a lot longer, years ago, right? These kind of games came out a lot longer than the remakes. When you look at, say, The Last of Us 1 or Last of Us Part 2 being remastered, or Horizon being remastered, they are recent releases that have been remastered for a small bump in quality or frames. They still look great and they're still great games. The bump up is only small in comparison to an older game getting bumped up to 2024 standards. So if you look at older games that have been remade like Dead Space Remake or Final Fantasy VII Remake, even Silent Hill 2 Remake, they are reimaginings and rebuilds completely from the ground up of much older games from the 1990s and the early 2000s. So my personal opinion is that remasters should not get nominated and remakes should be allowed to get nominated for Games of the Year. DLCs and remasters can have their own categories, but no, they shouldn't get nominated for Game of the Year. What do you think? Which game, according to you, should be Game of the Year for 2024? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about the topics we've discussed in today's video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and I'll catch you on the next video.